Why are we planning for 30 years in retirement? What's the basis of that? You ever just thought about why the 4% rule and all the projections are for 30 years in retirement? The more I think about retirement projections, the more I'm perplexed about how we've come to where we are. We can only take 4% a year out because the 70s killed the portfolio. Well, the 70s aren't coming again. They're just not. Again, going back to my man Richard Koo and the holy grail of macroeconomics, lessons from Japan's Great Recession, we're not likely. We're not going through a high inflationary time. This isn't Venezuela. It's not. If anything, it's a balance sheet recession that we're going into, which means inflation is not a risk. And if inflation is not a risk, then we can throw out the 70s as part of our planning projections. And if we don't take the 70s in, we survived the Great Depression just fine. Literally. All right, so hear me out for just a second. I'm thinking, all right, so you throw out the 70s, which I think absolutely you should, because it's not coming again anytime soon. You can throw in the Great Depression in there, absolutely, but the Great Depression would be like our man Richard says, stock market gyrations going down, losing stock value, but your cost of living not going up by much, if L, and the Great Depression, they call it a depression because the value of the dollar was growing relative to the cost of goods. But then the other one is you got to live for 30 years. Why? Where did this come from? You got to live for 30 years. Why didn't we say 20 years? Why didn't we say 25? But why 30? And so let's look at Vanguard's thing here. I don't know why the 30-year thing. And here's thanks to healthier lifestyles and breakthroughs in medical technology, life expectancy for Americans has increased significantly during the past half century. But it hasn't really increased that much for people who are in their 60s. A little bit, but not that much. The issue is the infant mortality rates have dropped like a brick in water. And so because of that, that's why life expectancies have increased so much. So here's the likelihood. It means your investment portfolio may need to last 30 years or more, but it won't. So here, a male who's 65 years old has a 41% chance of living till he is 85 and a 20% chance of living till the age of 90. That's not 30 years. A female who's 65 has a 53% chance of living to 85 and a 32% chance of living till 90. Again, that's not 30 years. So the man's got a 1 in 5 chance just living for 25 years, a 1 in 5. And the woman's got a 1 in 3 chance of living for 25 years. Neither are 30 years. If the man and woman are married, there's a 72% of chance that one of them will live to at least 85, a 45% chance that one will live until they're 90, but only a less than a 1 in 5 chance that either of them will live till age 95. So why do we have the retirement projections with both of us living till 95? It doesn't, literally there's less than a 1 in 5 if you're married at 65 that one of you all are going to live until you're 95. It doesn't make sense. And so here's John, and I did this, here's John and Mary. They're 65 years old. They're going to live for 30 years. There's an 18% chance one of them is going to live that long. But John only has, let's just look at, say it's just John, a number of people. John's got a 6% chance of living 30 years. It's crazy. Let's say John's, we'll say some woman. She's got a 13% chance of living 30 years. So that whole thing's I don't get it. All right, so let's say they're both 60 years old. 60. Let's say John's a man. How long do they have? What's their likelihood of living 30 years? Let's take a look. So if they're 60, they have a 44% chance of one of them living until they're 90. Still less than 1 in 2. That's the 90. Let's say John. We'll just use John. If he's 60 years old, he has a less than 1 in 5 chance of living until he's 90. If it's female, she's got less. Less than 1 in 3 chance to live until she's 90. Again, this is based on the 2000 Society of Actuaries retirement table. But again, the life expectancy for those who are getting older hasn't jumped through the roof. It's only because the babies are not dying as quickly, as crass as that sounds. So I think we might be over. Again, we're looking at the The bottom line, this is what you can do. And everyone now has used that as if that's all they can do. You plan for the 1970s, you can only take 4% a year out. Well, 1970s aren't coming anytime soon. You got to plan for a 30-year retirement and the 1970s. Well, doggone, you better not even take 4% out because you're going to live for 30 years in retirement and you're going to plan for the 70s. I just, on top of that, we look at, again, the reality retirement planning, like Ty Bernicki talks about, where your portfolio, your spending needs drop. I just think the whole thing is, I don't even want to say it's nefarious. I just think it shows you how quickly something that's simple to understand can just glom on into your thought process, and then it's like phone tag. Or phone, whatever that phone game is, and next thing you know, it's like you can only take 4% a year out. Why? Because that's what everyone else says. Well, that's for 30 years, a 60-40 portfolio. It assumes the 1970s come back and that you're going to increase your spending each and every year with inflation. I mean, that's a lot of assumptions to make, and yet everyone in their... I was just watching a video this morning. Some ladies talking about the FIRE movement and said, you could take 4% a year out, so if you're 50 years old, whatever it was, you need $1.2 million. It's like... And I guarantee she doesn't know why she's using the 4% rule, just because everybody else does. It's kind of like, why can't you eat eggs back in the days where we thought eggs were horrible cholesterol? Because everyone else does, because the Surgeon General said. Why do we think CO2 causes global warming? Because everyone says that, but who is everyone? I don't know. It's just the vernacular. The media has run with it. And the simplicity of those things, like CO2 causes global warming. Cholesterol causes heart attacks. The 4% rule will cause you to be successful in retirement. It's just, the whole thing is just, it bothers me, actually. And I just think, I wonder how many people are living lives that could be living better if they just were able to get some reality, say, that might not be true for me. That might not be true. If it's not true for me, maybe I can try something else and enjoy my life. All right, we'll see you.